to our webinar this afternoon, which is all about 7 steps to leading and running your business in 2021. My name is Colin Wilson, and I'm partnered in this webinar with a fantastic gentleman by the name of Mark Xere from MKS Group. So say hello, Mark.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar this afternoon, partnering with Key Business Advisors and the City of Moonee Valley. And thanks for the intro, Colin.
Awesome. Okay, so we've now started this webinar, and we're going to get right into it. It is going to go for an hour and a half, and we have 7 topics that we actually want to cover. The first topic is around reflecting on 2020 and what have we learnt. Then we'll talk about driving results and redefining the new norm. You know, the new normal. So what is the new norm of today? What is normal? Understanding your financials, getting the balance right with your staff. We're going to talk about recruiting, inducting and managing staff, being prepared for a great year ahead. And we need to have this positive, optimistic outlook on the year ahead, and the power of working, partnering with like-minded businesses, you know, in the Moonee Valley City Council. So this, as Mark said before, this webinar we have partnered with the City of Moonee Valley, and we're very grateful for the partnership that we have with the City of Moonee Valley, with Craig Skelton and everyone else there, and this is just a really good example of businesses collaborating together to work together to help other like-minded businesses. So we really hope you get a lot out of this webinar. Okay, so a little bit about me. I love what I do. I'm all about helping businesses, and we have our business is located in the City of Moonee Valley, in Buckley Street, Essendon, right there at the T intersection of Lincoln Road and Buckley Street. And we help many businesses improve their business performance through sales strategy, and we're an outsourced HR business. And then Mark, of course, you can talk a little bit about yourself there, Mark Xere.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. So Mark Xere from MKS Group. We're accountants in Moonee Ponds, also located in the City of Moonee Valley. And we've been working extremely hard over the past 12 months, helping all of our clients in small businesses in getting through the pandemic that we've just been through and the tough times that we've already experienced, and looking forward to everybody getting back on track. So we're happy to share some great ideas with you today on great steps about going forward.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. And you're located, what is it, Hall Street?
We're in Hall Street,
Ponds, aren't you?
Just above Kmart.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so just a bit of housekeeping with this webinar. So everyone on the webinar, you'll see, we'll go through this webinar today. For people who have registered and are not on the webinar, basically they'll get a copy of the recording of the webinar. And what we are very good at doing is, with all webinars recorded, we get them up on our website. And so you can go to that at any time and have a look at the webinar. Everyone is muted, and so basically we'll have a section there from some questions and answers. But one of the things Mark and I really encourage, if you've got some questions as we go along, please raise your hand, put a question in the question box, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions. So righto, let's get into this webinar. So for me, this is, as I said before, Key Business Advisors, this is our brand, and brand is everything for me. This is the 3 things that we're really big on when we help our clients from go to good to great. And Mark, you're all about proven business performance, and as before, this is what you spoke about. 2 great brands in the City of Moonee Valley that we just love working together collaboratively and helping many businesses. Okay, righto. So topic 1 is all about reflecting on 2020 and what have we learned. So I'm going to hand this next slide over to Mark, and I think we have, Mark, if I got this right, Michael Rizzoli as a partner of your business as well. He's going to jump in and out of this webinar today as we go through it. So take us through this slide, Mark.
In fact, Michael's going to join us now. He's going to talk us through the small business insights that we've been able to get our hands on, which will sum up pretty much what's happened in the last 12 months. So, Michael, if you want to jump on and show your face and give us a bit of a rundown, please.
Thanks, Mark and Colin, for the introduction. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Got you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, awesome. So we obviously had a bit of a challenge last year in every facet of our business, and I'm sure a lot of people did as well. no doubt. And I guess we were lucky to be part of a collaborative group of other like-minded businesses, and also have access to what we call what is called the Xere Small Business Insights. So this is actually data collected and put together by Alpha Beta, which is a Accenture company. They work together with Xere. So it's not just Xere putting this information together. Obviously, they're providing anonymous data from the accounting records that they have access to. But some interesting stats here, and these graphs are a little bit small, but I'll try and work you through some of the key highlights of what their December report actually pulled up. So on the left is revenue growth, and that sounds almost like an oxymoron when you think about 2020. As you can see, in the pre-pandemic stage, revenue growth was tracking on okay. COVID hit, and we get that massive 8.7% drop in April. And effectively, there was a lot of businesses there that were probably unsure, uncertain, did not know how to sort of what the next short to medium term was going to look like. But as you can see, as the year went on, 11.9% increase year on year that peaked in September 2020 in revenue growth. Now, that's a phenomenal piece of growth in any business, but I guess this is collated information across many industries. So there'll be industries that were probably not doing that at all. Travel, maybe hospitality is probably another one, but there are certainly other industries that had that significant spike. But interestingly, when we get to December, year on year, so December 2020 versus December 19, there was a drop in revenue of 2.7%. So that's really interesting in itself. Basically, the story's showing that even though many people were a little bit more confident heading into Christmas, the revenue growth or the revenue had sort of come down from where it was previously. So in the prior year, and that's an interesting story. It wasn't probably about confidence. I think maybe the spreading of business or businesses actually spreading out their revenue in the earlier period of the year. Interestingly, what the report or the Insights report shows is that jobs actually did grow. And that, again, is a little bit sort of counterintuitive to what happened. But in December, jobs grew by 1.9% above the pre-crisis level. So that's interesting. Naturally, as we saw in this report, casual jobs were up significantly in that period of time. So obviously, the same sort of trend or a similar trend with the revenue growth. Pre-pandemic, traveling okay, then a massive dip, and then a gradual pickup, a large pickup, and then a gradual sort of steady growth from July through to January this year. The last one there, average days to get paid. So small businesses, based on the data that Xere's got in front of them, so small businesses actually improved how they actually got paid. So in terms of it took 2.5 days faster to get paid. Now that sounds also a little counterintuitive to what you would expect. So these insight reports are actually quite good, and we can share the actual full report so that, with the participants today. But another comment that we received through the Xere Roadshow that we attended this week virtually, obviously, is that any businesses that were on a digital payment platform actually improved their payment terms by 13 days. So what is a digital payment platform? So anyone that sort of has payment platforms like Go Cardless, Stripe, PayPal, all those sorts of payment methods, and that are on a digital platform, actually improved payment terms by 13 days. So in a situation that we find ourselves, I feel like that is a pretty good example about using technology to navigate through COVID. So there's sort of some three key data. I mean, when you think about it, revenue, jobs, and cash. Yeah, basically the three sort of big pillars for business, particularly small business.
I think, Michael, if I can just ask, like a lot of, I think, would probably also with online shopping would have created that as well. So would that have improved that figure for people going online shopping, buying now?
Absolutely. I mean, it's well documented that a lot of businesses pivoted, if I can use that word, if it's not overused too much, to online platforms. So whether it's online shopping, retail, or products, in some cases, services online. So that sort of did change how the consumer pattern, I guess. And you can only tell if you look at your credit card bill how many Uber Eats or Deliveroo transactions are going through. Definitely in my household, there was a few of those, but I'm sure many people had that sort of change in behaviour.
That's good. So you're happy to share that report to people on this webinar, Michael? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a public report, so it's not necessary. It's not just available to us. So it's not a long report, and it does come out. I think it's every quarter. Obviously, the December report's the most relevant one, or the most recent one, but it does show some of the things that Xere can see. Well, actually, the trends actually is probably the important thing, is what is happening in the heartbeat of business.
Yep. And you just talked about pivoting. So, how quickly, we had to adapt with the change and pivot our business. So if I just go through a couple of things here, I don't want to dwell on the past too much, but, that big shockwave that went through us, forced to work from home, people making staff changes, we've got to look at maybe some new products or services that we can do. How quickly can we get our business online? How do we market better? So it was a lot of, I think anyone in marketing grew quite substantially during the COVID business, and certainly some of the people that we partnered with, I know they've done very, very well, put 2 or 3 people on within their business. And then, we all had that process. So a lot of us, got our solutions, our technical solutions. We've got systems and processes, and we've got things in the cloud. But not every one of us have that. So all of a sudden, that was something else that we had to do. And then, I think being adaptable for our clients. So making sure our clients are okay, making sure that they're trading okay, and just being there. I think for their mental health. And then obviously, that financial plan, and I think, we're talking about, this whole webinar is all about collaboration and working collaboratively together. But I know certainly, Mark, you guys, and Michael, you guys at MKS Group are, really helping some people out, including us. What's the financial plan look like? What do we need to do? What's that risk of, what's going to happen? And I think we've all had to reset our business goals. And a question was asked, with many businesses, well, how do you reset your business goals when you're in middle of a pandemic? But somehow we've all had to go and make those changes and trade through. And I think I truly believe we got to the end of last year, and it was like a race. It was like there was no holidays, no one had holidays. It was like a race. Got to Christmas, and then we all collapsed in Christmas and in January, and then kick back on again, in February this year. And for us, they're in the city of Moonee Valley and in Melbourne and Victoria. We know that we've had that 5-day shutdown, which certainly has created a lot of undue pressure, more pressure on the business, like, you know, we're going to get there. But you know what? I'm a very optimistic type of person, very positive, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to keep our customers really, really positive, and help them out. But and certainly that reinforcement. But Mark, anything you want to add to that?
No, Colin, I think you've summed it up really well. I think the important thing was, you know, the focusing. I think now we need to focus on going forward and be aware of what's happened in the past, because as we saw from, you know, last week having that snap lockdown for 5 days, that can happen again, right? So I don't want to sort of brush that aside and say that it's not going to happen, because it could. None of us are going to know when that can happen, but we just need to learn from that, and that's what today is all about. Today is all about learning from the experiences and taking that forward into a positive as to what we can do in our businesses going forward. So I think you summed that part up quite well.
Yeah. So, you know,
Colin,
in your opinion, yep.
Sorry, Colin, just one thing. I'll probably come back to it later. I just want to flag a small business digital adoption program, adaptation program, sorry, that the Victorian government has got going, and it's actually, the grant's closing in 3 days. So I'll sort of flag that we'll come back to that later on.
Okay. Yep. No dramas. Beautiful. And then I think, you know, why some businesses excelled while others struggled, even from the same industry, and that I found that very, very interesting. So we have a nice, you know, large portfolio of clients, the same as you, Mark. But you know, the biggest thing, and we've done many webinars. You know, Key Business Advisors did a heap of Survive and Thrive webinars, and then we did some collaboration webinars with yourselves, Mark, and some other partners. But you know, for me, the thing that I saw with our clients was the difference between, you know, some businesses who excelled. Now, I'm not talking about cafes and stuff like that, although even though some cafes did excel during COVID, but you know,
really well.
Communication. Yeah, it was all about communication, you know, really good communication and that leadership, leading from the front. And, you know, I remember when it all happened, you know, we had a team meeting in March, and I just, Lorraine and I just said to our staff that, you know, you just got to follow our leadership. We are going to market like there's no tomorrow. We've had the resources. This is what we're going to do. And then what I did is I just simplified KPIs for everyone in the business and go, I just want you to own it and run with it. We're all going to work from home. We're going to do our startup meetings, and this is what we need to do. And I think, you know, for me personally, last year was a very tough year, but, you know, we held all of our staff. We actually grew 2 other staff members in our business. But that communication was key. And, you know, we're an outsourced HR business, and if I had my HR team on this webinar, majority of their calls where there was issues with companies that things weren't going to right was just, I put it down to, it was a lack of communication. And the next point is that high resilience, you know, having that resilience, like, you know, as a small business owner, you know, I always say you got to have 2 things. You got to have sheer determination and resilience. How much can you take? Well, a lot of us got run through the mill last year, and, you know, as tough as it was, and, you know, the scary part is, you know, the secret was not to panic. So not to panic and just, you know, hang in there, I think is probably the word. And I, you know, it's in this webinar that we talked about, but and it says it below, you know, collaborating with other like-minded businesses, and just keeping that focus. Many businesses pivoted their business, and there's still people still doing that today. We're still making changes to our business. We're still trying to create other products and services to try and keep us going, because it's a bit of a different world. And I think that determination, that reset of goals and objectives. So, you know, that's something that I'm very big on. And Mark, you're going to talk about a 90-day plan. I'm all for that. You know, what you reset your goals of what you want, you know, every quarter, and you just got to make sure that you're giving that good communication all the way through. And, you know, the collaboration in your local community together, I think, you know, we had that 5K radius that you couldn't travel out. And I think a lot of us, you know, started to re-collaborate with more of our local business, like-minded business owners, and the City of Moonee Valley really pushed that, and I think it's been very, very successful. And resources, you know, so that sourcing of, you know, professional advice quickly when we needed it, and again, you know, being an outsourced HR business, you know, my team worked really, really hard during that process. No doubt, so did your team there, Mark, at MKS Group.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. We all had to band together and, you know, make the best of the worst situation.
Yeah. So I think, look, this is what it's about, but that's the year that's gone. And now we want to talk about, well, okay, what's the year looking ahead? So this is all about now driving results and redefining the new normal, the new norm, so we've got to understand, and you said it before, we've got to accept this, and we've got to sit back and go, right, we are going to trade through this. And, already, December, January, we're about to go into March next year. And the year is going quick as enough as it is. But I think, what, being comfortable with uncertainty, I think that was the thing, is we've got to be comfortable with it. We've got to accept what is the new norm, what is the new norm in our business. And a really good thing that certainly is, do I have to have all my staff back in the business Monday to Friday, working that 38-hour week, and is that the new norm? So is that not the new norm, right? Because in my business, my office space is not big enough to have all my team in there all together. So we've got to create some sort of split shifts. So we've simply created this process of all the admin staff are in there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then we've got selected team members coming in on the other days, and we just got to keep it to it. You just got to keep it to it. I think it's all about, how do you keep trading? So as we said, it's been tough for a lot of businesses, but we've got to keep trading, because for a lot of business owners that are on this webinar, as much as we're saying it, but your superannuation, everything in your business that's your life. We've got to keep it going. So setting those goals and objectives is just what it's all about. And one thing that I always talk about is, what does success look like for you? So right now we're in a new norm. What does success look like for you, and what does it look like for your staff? And one thing we did see a lot of during the pandemic is we did see some people check out. I don't want to do this anymore. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to work in this job anymore. I want to try something different. So there's been a lot of staff movement within businesses, and so again, this is about, what do you want, and what are your staff? What does success look like? And it's all about how, I think, you got to keep pushing through and keeping that positivity going to the point where you're just driving that motivation through your team, and being there for them. And Mark and I, we've done some webinars. We've done 3 or 4 webinars in the last 12 months together, and talked a lot about that positivity and keeping your staff together. So, Mark, do you want to take us through keep moving forward with your business plan, your 90-day plan? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, sure, Cole. Thanks very much. Look, 90-day plans are probably one of the most important things that we can do right now, because we know we've got a plan, and I think it's really, really difficult to say, let's plan 12 months ahead. So I think we're trying to work out what to do, what our businesses are capable of doing over the next 3 months. And we know it's difficult to plan in these uncertain times, but that doesn't mean that we've got to stop planning or budgeting. That can be one of the most dangerous things that you do. It's more important now than ever before to make sure that planning continues. And it doesn't just mean with the numbers, it means with your resources, with your buying, as Colin explained about having, when you can get your team back in the office. If you're under the threshold, which I think was 50 people, then you can bring everybody back in the office, as long as you had the space to social distance. So, that's all part of planning. So knowing when your resources are back, because collaboration among your team is one of the most important things. Now, before trying to do any planning, you need to know what are the drivers of your business. So what actually drives it? For example, if you're a retailer, you got to focus on getting customers to come in and buy from you. That's one of the most important drivers that you've got. The driver is the customer number, and knowing how much each customer is spending. That's a very important number. Whether they're buying online or whether they're buying in store, it doesn't matter. It's still a driver in your business. So obviously the aim is to get the customers to spend more per dollar. So if you're in hospitality, the average customer spend is probably an important number. In fact, it's probably a critical number. And your good waiters and waitresses are the ones that are going to help increase that spend. Can I get you another wine, get you another drink, get you another coffee, or, get some fries with that as well. McDonald's have been upselling to us for years, and they're doing it really, really well. So we need to know what that driver of our business is. So if you don't know that, we're happy to do a session with you and your key people and help you work out what the drivers actually are, because everybody, I mean every business, has a driver. So once you know what that number is, we've got to work on increasing it. And one of the ways of increasing it is to get your staff trained to be able to sell. And I know for a fact that Colin does an absolutely sensational job in training staff. I've seen him firsthand doing it. He's done it with my team. It's training them to be able to determine what your customer wants and sell that product to them. Yeah, that's one of the most important things you can do. So I think if you don't feel your team are really up with the selling side of it, have a chat to Colin, because it's not illegal to sell to someone, and it's not illegal to sell them something they really, really want. So what about your company values? You know, are these published for everyone to be able to see? You know, what are your values? I mean, we've got ours, which are on a poster board right behind me. I've always got them with me. They're around the office for everyone to see. And with clients that I actually work with, we actually go and create the values and make them create these banners as well that they can put up in their office for everyone to see. So people don't buy what you do, they buy why you're doing it. And that's not my line, that's a Simon Sinek. He's famous for helping businesses create their why, yeah? So you need to have that. People need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you get out of bed in the morning? That's one of the most important things as well. So keep moving forward with your 90-day plans. You need to know, you know, what you're going to be doing in the next 90 days. We need to know, you know, what's driving your business and defining your company values. The other thing is about your goals. You know, do you know what your goals are? Have you got your goals? Have you got any goals in your business? If you have, do your team know what they are? Yeah, you need to articulate these to your team. Have some set numbers and discuss the results versus what you're actually targeting. And you can do that on a weekly or a monthly basis. It doesn't matter, but talk to your team. Your team is one of your most important assets. So once you've got that, you've really got the basis. You've got all those things that I've just mentioned that are on the screen in front of you now. All those together help bring your 90-day plan forward. Once you've got that 90 days, then you can probably do another 90, yeah? And aim high. There's no need to aim low. So we need to really be able to plan for what's going ahead and going forward. Cole, can you push me to the next slide, please?
Yeah, just before you do that, you know, something, Mark, I want to raise is, you know, people do plans, but then who holds them accountable? Right? I think that's the thing, you know, that's one thing, you know, I really want to put, you know, we can put a plan together, but then, you know, there's this thing called strategic intent. This is what I plan to do, but then we drift. So we might have some disruption. So I think what's important is you know, you prepare a 90-day plan, and I'm a very big believer that you prepare that plan, and then you need someone like yourself, Mark, or ourselves, right, to hold that owner accountable to do that plan because of that self-discipline, without doubt.
Okay. Yeah, look, accountability is definitely important. Accountability is very important, but you can also hold yourselves accountable amongst your team. So if you're sharing your goals with your team, you hold each other accountable. It doesn't matter if you're the owner. Let the team challenge you as the owner as well. That's there's nothing wrong with that. So the next slide topic is being prepared for disruption throughout this year. And, you know, I'll start off by saying, well, preparing for disruption, he says. Well, absolutely. How do we prepare for it? Well, hopefully you got something from, you know, the previous slide that I had up there about planning and knowing how important it is. And what we saw last week is that we can be shut down at any point in time, right? And I don't think that last week was the last one that we've seen. I think we'll probably see some more coming in the winter time. Let's hope the vaccination is going to do something about that. But look, you know, harping on the past is not something I like to do. I did enough of that on the webinars that we ran last year, the ones with Colin and without Colin. But, you know, there's a lot to understand and learn about what we did. And I think it's the old Boy Scout thing that you really, really need to be prepared for what's ahead, right? And if you're not prepared, then I reckon that might be wrong. From what I learned last year is that we need to be very, very proactive, right? There's nothing worse than being reactive. Every business who sells something can do the same thing online, right? And offline, online, it doesn't matter. Either way can work. From what I learned as well last year is communication is one of the critical things too. Communication with your people, you know, keeping them interested is all very, very, very important. Now, the new normal, well, we're still developing that, aren't we? We're still working out what that new normal is. we're starting now to get a few more clients come in the office, and we're, sitting down face to face, but Zoom meetings and webinars are still part of the normal thing that we're doing. So the new normal for everybody is still being developed. Even retailers are now adapting to having an online shop, and I'm hoping that most retailers do have an online shop. If you don't, maybe it's something you need to think about. Having an online shop as well as a retail shop, and getting that good balance between the two. Also, when I said before, you need to be proactive. You can't operate in a reactive world. We need to be prepared for what's going to happen, and we need to be able to act on that straight away. So again, that's not something I want to harp about, but it's something that we need to be aware of. Another important learning from 2020 was the need to have a war chest. And by that, I mean a war chest of money. I'm not going to hold back on any punches there. Having a war chest of money, every little bit that we can save is going to help. Now, I know a lot of businesses got government grants. I know a lot of businesses would have got some JobKeeper and some cash flow boosts throughout the year. They are all very, very, very important items which helped keep a lot of businesses afloat. Now, from what I've seen, and we look after a very significant number of businesses, most of the businesses we look after, even those in retail and hospitality, were able to create a war chest. They were able to create a little bit of a kitty, have some money set aside in case of emergencies. And last week was an emergency. And that was what a lot of my clients were very, very grateful that we taught them to create a war chest with the government grants and the JobKeeper and the cash flow boosts they received last year. It's keeping money for a rainy day. And that's very, very important. And hopefully everybody got a lot of value and a lot of benefit out of some rental assistance from their landlords too. So that's about my segue into cash flow. So if you're using a good accounting system like Xere, there's plenty of options to add on ways of collecting money quicker from your customers. So if you don't have a good payment gateway, make it easy for your customers to pay your bills. Make it easy for them to hand over their money to you for what you've done. Don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but we can help you in finding the right system and what's going to work for you. There's so many add-ons to Xere at the moment which can help you get paid a lot quicker than what you probably are. Don't wait for customers to log on to their bank and do an EFT and get the money right or get the wrong account number or something. Make it really simple. They can push a button on your invoice, pay online, push a button, and you're paid. So put the onus back on them. Okay, so the other point on my slide there is also searching for government assistance and grants. And Michael put a segue into this earlier before about the current business adoption grant. So if you're not currently using a cloud accounting system like a Xere or an MYOB or something like that, now is the time to do it. In fact, Xere have partnered up with the state of Victoria, and they've got a grant available to any business that's not yet on Xere. So even if you're on a computer system like MYOB or QuickBooks and you switch over to Xere, which is probably a much, much better system, you're able to get $1,200 grant from the state of Victoria, state government. So that's something to be aware of. There's been other government grants that have been paid, especially in the hospitality and the travel industry. And as a result of last week's shutdown, anyone that was entitled to anything from what was announced last week, that should happen automatically. There's no need to go and put in any special applications for that.
Mark, can I just add to the digital adaptation program, that grant, that $1,200 grant, it also extends to things like, I believe it's Shopify. So if you're looking for an online store, so which works really well. And obviously with the things such as payment gateways, go cardless, that sort of, as I touched on earlier, that people are getting paid or businesses are getting paid faster, especially when they have an ability to click a button on an invoice and actually get paid right away. So these sorts of, whilst the $1,200 grant is nothing to sneeze at, it's not exactly huge, but it could cover a subscription cost for a year or more. So
that's set up costs. versions.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So this one particularly closes in 3 days. So again, we'll probably share some resources out at the end of today, so that we can get people that you're interested to get on board.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Michael.
I just want to add,
on that.
Yeah, I just want to add too, don't forget the City of Moonee Valley, because they put out some fantastic initiatives last year, and I think there's still a collaboration grant that's still out there, that's still active. So so make sure you have a look at the local City of Moonee Valley for some grants. And the other thing
jump
I
on their
want to
website. I think all the info is on the Moonee Valley Council website too.
Yep, I've got that at the last slide, one of the last slides of this presentation, so people can know where to go. But and the other thing too is, Michael, you talked about before the amount of recruitment that's happened. So make sure you're eligible for Job Maker for those people who are employing people. So there's and I certainly know that we've put a staff member on, and we're getting a nice little return. It's not huge, but still it's something. That should come through this quarter from last quarter. So, or this next month from last quarter. So again, there are stuff there, and I'll say to everyone out there, talk to your accountant. Talk to my MKS Group. They'll help you. They'll guide you through, how that works. Okay.
Thank you. All right. So, what can you do differently to survive and thrive in? I'm calling it uncertain times, but just to say in these times, right? Let's just make sure that we're on board with that. So what can we do differently? One of the things that I find that a lot of my clients are starting to do now is find out what your customers want. You might be selling a product that they don't really need. So let's find out what they want. And that's as simple as doing a survey. There's some great tools out there like SurveyMonkey that can actually help us find out what our customers really need. What do we do? We do accounting, we do tax, we do software. There's a number of different things that we do. We've actually gone out and surveyed our clients, and they've come back and told us that they wanted different things that we're actually offering. And what did we do? We introduced that as a product. And if we weren't trained in it, we went and got the training. Yeah. So we did that. We surveyed our customers, found out what they want, and we're delivered. One of the things that they wanted was getting their budgets done earlier. So normally we'd be sitting with our clients in around about May or June, maybe even late June, doing their budgets. I think this year we need to do that a lot earlier. And yes, we are going to ask you to budget for the next 12 months. And I know with Colin and his team, budgeting is usually something that's done in April and May of every year, and that's a great time to be doing it. So what's going to be done, what's ahead of you. Then you've got to plan to achieve the budgets. It's okay to put some numbers on paper and say, yep, this is how much we're going to do in revenue, or these are what our costs are going to be, but let's start working towards that. And it might mean that you need to start putting some marketing in place. Yeah, marketing has gone nuts lately, and people are reacting to marketing and different initiatives. So if you haven't tried marketing before, you really, really need to get into that. Yeah, a lot of my clients wanted towards March, April last year, we're all sort of thinking, oh, no, we've got to turn off our marketing. We've got to stop it. We can't afford it. We can't do any more marketing. My response to that was, if you were doing marketing, you keep doing it. Keep spending. Make sure your customers know you're still around. If you're not doing marketing, you have to start doing it. Again, to make sure your customers know you're still around and you're still able to supply them. So, yeah, marketing can help you. Is one of the things that you can do to plan to achieve those budgets. And also communicate that with your team as well, so that they know what sort of numbers you're targeting, and they can work with you to help you achieve them. Reviewing your numbers and closely monitoring your cash flow. They're two very, very important things that I cannot stress enough. In the past, you probably looked at your numbers maybe once or twice a year. Some people get a BAS every quarter, sign it, send it in, pay the money without even checking anything. We've just done an exercise for a client where they do their own BASs, supposedly. Found out, number one, they hadn't lodged them for a while. They thought they did. And number two, found out that the numbers were all wrong. And we've just gone, reviewed and revised all the numbers and saved them a fair bit of money. So making sure that you know what your numbers are and very, very, very closely monitor them so that you know that you're achieving the right results or that you're not achieving any results. And if you're not, well, then you can put corrective action in place. Cash flow is another important area, and I can't stress that enough. monitor your cash flow, know how much is coming in, know when it's coming in, but more importantly, know what your commitments are as well. You know, we've probably all went on these loan holidays last year where we didn't have to pay anything for 6 months or 9 months, and we might have had some deferred rents as well, but they're all being called up now. We need to start making good those amounts that we deferred. So cash flow monitoring, again, is another very, very important topic. If anyone's got any questions, put them through on the chat, please. There's a couple of us here that can help you, you know, give you some answers if you've got any questions, and don't be afraid to ask. There's no such thing as a silly question. If there's something that's on your mind, you can ask and we will attempt to answer for you. Okay, Cole, next topic.
Yeah, no worries. And I just want to add to that, Mark. One of the things I absolutely look forward to, and I did it with Michael on the 2nd of February, was that quarterly review that we have where we go through the numbers and how it is. And we do have a question. So question's gone. So I'll come back to that in a sec. So I'll come back to that. So if that person who asked that question, I've just hit the question box and it's gone. So I don't know what's happened there. Okay. All right. Understanding of financials. So Mark, you know, you just talked about the planning and everything like that. It's all about understanding. So over to you.
Okay. Thanks very much. All right. So in terms of making informed decisions, you know, you need some tools to be able to do that. Yeah. Now, whether you're in great communication with your accountant or whether you try and do it alone is entirely your choice, but you need to have some tools to help you make the informed decisions, yeah? And there's a number of different tools that are open to you. I mentioned before about Xere in collaboration with the state government, putting out a $1,200 grant for those that actually connect onto Xere for the first time. Yeah, so that's available to you. And the important thing about having a system like that is that you can keep your numbers up to date. Yeah, unless your numbers are up to date, you've got no tools to measure the performance of your business. And it's something that I've said before, and I'll say it again. If it's something that you cannot measure, then it's something that you cannot manage. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Don't leave it to chance. Yeah, your business can't afford taking chances. Yep, take risks, you know, take a bit of a punt on something, but you know, without your numbers being up to date and without being able to monitor what your results are looking like, you're not going to be able to make any informed decisions. Working with your accountant and getting the most out of their knowledge. Most accountants like us and my team, we work with a number of different businesses across many different sectors, and we get really, really involved in the businesses of our clients. So we know what they do, we know what drives them, we know what gets them out of bed in the morning, we know what's important to them. So work closely with your accountant, and as I said before, you know your numbers. Don't just sign off on the reports that you get. Don't just accept what gets sent to you and sign here and send back. Yeah, sit with your accountant, know about the business and what it can do to bring a different, what you can do to bring a different perspective to your business. Yeah, you really need to understand your numbers. And what I said before is don't just look at your profit and loss report. That's a bit of an old school report now, because there's a lot more tools available that can get you a lot more information. Colin, I might just get you to go to the next slide for a minute, because I've got a good example of something that we've developed for our clients, and we're just starting to roll it out. This is the first time people are seeing these type of reports where we actually give you information on a more pictorial level rather than just numbers. Yeah, some people prefer to see numbers in a standard format. This is another way of seeing it in a bit of a visual format. We've also got a tool which we'll be launching very, very soon. Again, this is a bit of a snapshot where it's a bit interactive, and every client will have a login where they'll be able to click in a particular month and a year, compare it to the previous month of the previous year, and so on. And these reports are so interactive, and you can design them to look like whatever you want. We can change colors, we can do a number of different things. They're very, very, very user friendly, and they can give you some very valuable information. Imagine, you know, a cafe knowing the number of customers that come in the door versus the revenue. You can actually see what the per spend per customer is. And if that's not enough to make you a profit, well, let's work on increasing that number. Yeah, making sure that your markups are enough on the products that you're selling. Make sure your hourly rate is enough on the time that you're selling or the service you're providing. So you really, really need to understand your numbers. And if seeing them on a profit and loss report, you know, revenue minus expenses is not enough for you, then we can dig deeper and get some more information for you. You need to demand more analytical reports from your accountant, right? You need to demand that, and making sure that you know what you need to do within your business to help improve it. So if you don't know that, then you need to start finding it. And what I mean by that is dig deeper. Yeah, dig as deep as you possibly can.
Mark, that good old saying, you can't manage what you can't measure.
That's it, exactly right. Now, these type of reports that I'm talking about are ones that you don't need to pick up the phone and ring your accountant about. We can give you a tool where you can log on, push a button, pick the year, pick the month, and there's the information. If you don't want that report, scroll across the bottom, you'll see different tabs and you can pick a different type of report. This one here is just giving you a pictorial view of, take the middle one there, of income, of where your incomes come from, or your expenses. Where's the main expenses? Bit of a pie diagram. And then you got the bar charts and the line charts, and there's lots of different things. You can do it if you've got 3 or 4 locations. We can consolidate your locations and you can see the results of each one side by side. You can rank your locations, who's the best performers, who's the worst performers, and what's the in-betweens. So there's a lot that can be done, and don't accept mediocrity. Yeah, just make sure that you're able to get as much information out of your reports as you possibly can. All right, if there's any questions on that, I'll take them. Otherwise, let's go over to the next slide, which is really another important thing that we need to get done this year for many, many, many reasons, right? And that is tax planning. Tax planning is critical. Yeah, you need to get onto that as soon as you possibly can. Now, your budgets tell a story, okay? And that story is something that's going to help you focus on what you need to be doing. The next chapter in the story is reviewing the results and starting to plan for tax. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing that now is because despite the fact that we had a bit of a lull in the last 12 months, when we come to 30 June 21, some of those government grants we got were taxable, some of them are not. So you've got this, yeah, that out of that war chest you've got, there may be some money that needs to be set aside to pay tax on that, because some of it will be taxable. A lot of our clients and a lot of our businesses that we look after actually did make a profit. So one thing that I don't like is when we surprise people with the amount of tax. Don't like surprises. Like I said there, unless it's your birthday or your anniversary or something, yeah, you can have a surprise then, but don't accept tax as a surprise. It should never be a surprise to anybody.
Mark, you hit the nail on the head. Sorry to interrupt there, but with businesses, like we saw with the stats earlier, right at the start, surprisingly, there are businesses that have performed better than they would have had. And that's where this part of the season for their business in the tax season is important. And you hit another critical one about different grants. Some are taxable, some are not. And we'd hate to see clients get that wrong. And also those that may have done okay. I think there's time on our side to manage the tax outcome legally, obviously, but if you come to us on the 25th of June,
that's far too late. Yeah, and if that happens, like I put there, if you're going to come too late, you're going to end up being liable for what I call the stupid tax, and it's stupid tax because you didn't bother doing anything about it. Yeah, and you suffer the consequences, and you know, stupid tax can cost people quite dearly. All right. Yeah, go over, Cole. That's fine. Go to the next slide.
Yep.
Now, this one, I wanted to throw this in because a lot of people are concerned about changing accountants and thinking it's all too hard. It's not hard. It's not hard to do. In fact, we did a lot of it during COVID. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of clients that we took on from March through to, January of this year, or March last year to January this year. So in the last 12 months, that we haven't actually met yet. We've been doing it all on Zoom. I've met them on Zoom, but I haven't met them face to face. So one of the things that you need to be aware of when you are changing is make sure you get into bed with a proactive accountant. Yeah, and a proactive accountant is one that's going to dig deep into your business. It's one that's going to understand you and your business. Yeah, you've got to understand the personality of the owners as well as what the business is actually doing. And believe it or not, businesses have a personality as well. And a good accountant is one who's going to partner with you and your business to help you achieve the results that you're looking to achieve. And getting the right advice. Yeah, you deserve the right advice. Every business owner deserves the right advice. Yes, you've got to pay for advice, but that's all part and parcel of what you know, running your business. So the advent of the cloud and having systems like MYOB on the cloud or Xere in the cloud have made it very, very easy to change. So don't feel it's difficult. And your history does follow you as well. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but all I can say is that, you know, it's not difficult to change. We took on a major client in March of last year, or February, I think, just as we were sort of getting into that period, and we had it all fully implemented within about a week, and it wasn't very difficult. You know, accountants cooperate with each other when it comes to handing over information, unless they're a bit hostile, but you really shouldn't be any need for that. So it's not hard to do. If anyone's concerned, happy to take it offline and have a conversation with you at any time you want. All right, enough on that one. What's the next one, Cole? Budgeting.
Yeah, budgeting in the new normal. Yeah,
yeah.
The budgeting.
Yeah, the main point I said there is that I don't want to use the past to create what could happen in the future, because I don't like dwelling. So we need to look at what your business is capable of doing, be brave, anticipating what your clients want, and let's make it happen, right? Make it happen and budget for it. So work out what you want out of your business. Are you getting enough out of it? Are you getting enough pay for yourself, enough revenue for yourself? Are you getting enough sales? If not, let's work out what we need to do to make it happen. Yes, we do need to budget for disruptions because it's inevitable. They're going to happen, aren't they? Right? They're always going to happen. So we need to budget for that. Now, when I say budget for it, I don't mean, you know, thinking ahead, when's it going to happen? What months do I go for lower sales or whatever it is? Let's not do that, but let's just keep in the back of our mind that something may happen and it'll be a disruption to our business. And we need to make sure that whatever it's going to be, that we can minimize the impact of what might happen. And when you've got that war chest that I spoke about before, when you've got that in your back pocket, you know for certain that you're going to be able to ride through any snap lockdowns, or what did Dan the man call it last week? A circuit breaker. So he's turned into an electrician now. So it was a circuit breaker. And yes, it happened and it worked. All right. So you can budget in the new normal and it can work to your advantage as well. Right, flip over.
I think, Mark, if I can just add to that, Mark, I think, you know, budget is something to aim for, and it's nothing better than, you know, it keeps you focused. It's part of goal setting. It's part of your plan. And, you know, like sometimes we exceed certain KPIs within our budget, and sometimes we don't. But overall, you know, it is something to aim for. And, you know, I think the thing is we've all got to learn to become adaptable. So when there is that sudden lockdown of 5 days that just happened, we're very quick to switch to keep those sales coming through, because we've all got to survive. That's the way it is. Yeah.
We just go from selling from the front of our shop to selling online. So, you know, and that's a really good segue into this slide here, where we need to be able to make informed decisions. Yeah, should there be any disruption, and plan for a good end of financial year. It's not hard to plan for a good end of financial year. We can do it. We're seeing businesses do it at the moment, but you need to be able to do it when you can make informed decisions. And without any reports and without any insight or without any analytics into your business, how are we going to do that? Yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to make informed decisions unless we've got the reports that we can use. Now, for that, you need to implement some sort of cloud technology. The technology is there. You know, nobody is going to support desktop software anymore, and gone are the days where you can hand over a set of check butts and bank statements to your accountant, because no one does checks anymore, right? So you need to be able to do electronic accounting, which is what we're promoting with 99.5% of our clients. You need to help yourself so that your accountant can help you. Yeah, so you're helping yourself and you're helping your accountant, but you're helping your accountant help you. That's what it comes back to. Use the technology that's out there, use it to your advantage, and you're doing this, it's not for the sake of me, because at the end of the day, the more work it takes me to do a job, the more I charge, right? So you're doing this for the sake of your business. And that's one of the most important things that I can say. Now, you've got the old desktop software, which can be converted. We can transfer that and put it into an electronic file and a cloud file, but that needs to be right, and that needs to be correct before we start doing that. All right. So I'm going to just stop for a minute, and Cole, I might get you to talk about topic 4, which is getting the balance right with your staff and making your team all aligned. So I might just hand over to you for a minute.
Yeah, 100%. So, to me, the big thing, the big calls that have come through in the start of this year is the rules around staff returning back to the office. Can I force my staff to return to the office? And I think that's a big question, and it's not a easy question to answer. It really depends on the type of business, because if I'm a retail business and I need staff on the floor, or a cafe or a restaurant, they have to come back, because they're on the front line of the business. But I think it's goes back to a bit of planning again. It's just how you do it. So we have had a client that has been very demanding and insisted that everyone needs to come back. So then that's created some disruption within his own business. And I can say finally, he's got what he's wanted, and he's forced it. And then obviously the shutdown on last week, that a couple of weeks ago, that happened in Melbourne. Well, he's gone back to Xere again, so he's got to restart all over again. So it's just frustration. To me, this is the way that we reckon, and we have HR advisors in our business that guide companies through on what to do. So the first of all is, what is your staff plan for returning back to work? And that's that open communication. Talk to your staff. This is what the business needs, right? And then try and get that that commitment from your team. And I go back to you talked about before, your mission, your vision, your values. This is what we're trying to achieve, and we educate our staff about this bit of business acumen, why the business needs staff to return, because we need to make money. We need it. This is how it works. It's customers that pay your wages. It's not us. It's customers. So we need to look after our customers, and we need good teamwork. But I think if you have a good staff plan, that's going to work really, really well. I think a big question is, do you have all the COVID measures in place? Like, so for an example, that for me to come back to work, have I is the the premises being cleaned? Do I have the sanitizers, all the PPE stuff that is required in the workplace of today? And what are the ground rules that you want to implement? So those ground rules of, and I talked about it before, we've implemented the ground rules of our admin Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then alternated staff in between. So you want to create some ground rules where everyone's on the same page, and people feel like there's a plan in place. And one thing I'll talk about is if you've got a plan in place, don't change it, right? So don't mix it up week on week. Try and get some consistency with getting it back to the new norm. Can your business be adaptable for rotating staff in the office? And there is rules. So there are a certain amount of staff allowed in the office with 1.5 metre space. Again, the government is forever changing the rules, if I can say that. So we've got to make sure that we're adaptable for that. And what does best practice look like in your business now? Now, people working from home, this is a real question, because we've had companies ring in and say, well, I don't trust my staff from working from home. Well, again, if you don't trust your staff from working from home, then I see that there's also a little bit of issue that's already in the business. But if you've got really good goals and objectives, and you're creating projects and tasks for people to do, and you talked about before, Mark, people holding one another accountable, like putting teams together and stuff like that. Our HR team have meetings, throughout the week. I'm not involved in those. They hold each other accountable, and they get the work done. So I think, what does best practice look like in your business? And again, that's a big thing for me. You must follow the government announcements. You must follow what Fair Work and WorkSafe are saying, because if you don't, then obviously there's huge fines to come with that. So we've got a couple of downloads there you might want to have a look at, getting staff to return back to the office. But also, I think write some sort of policy around staff working from home. So if you are going to work from home, this is what our policy is. And during the pandemic and when it all happened, pretty much my office got emptied out with computers, laptop, 2 screens, chairs, all the stuff that you need to do getting staff work from home. It's now about getting that balance back right, and and I think the other thing too is you can segment your business as well. So better ways to manage and rotate your staff, in the office. I think open discussions and having that collaborative approach. The one-on-one conversations. So again, the homeschooling that happened last week. So we've got to be realists. If you've got employee staff that have got young ones at home and there's homeschooling as well, of course there's going to be some disruption in their life. So we just want to make sure that you've got all that in place, and that open communication. I truly believe that if you give to your staff and give a bit of flexibility, you actually get it back in other ways, especially if you've got good motivation within your team. Maybe set up a rotating shift as who's in the office and who's not, which I just spoke about. Break it up into departments, segregate the office. This is our admin, our sales area. This is our administration area. This is our retail factory, and create some no-go zones. So you need to create what I call a lockdown plan. So as well. So basically, should something go wrong, we've got a lockdown plan. So it's very easy for people to follow, and then when we come back to work, then it's very easy for people to follow. So, as leaders, I think if we've got a plan in place and this is how it works, everyone will follow it, and you don't have to micromanage it. And I think it's really important. I also think you need to set some rules for client visits and travel. So if we're going to go out and do some client visits, or even clients visits coming into your business as well, into your offices, again, there's rules as well. You still need to follow the rules: social distancing, contact tracing, all the above. You want to have a good supply of sanitizers and face masks. That's something that we've got at our reception. So when people come in, make sure that they sanitize. We've also got one of those devices where it takes a photograph and does a temperature reading of as well. Make sure your staff are educated on your procedures. So it's all staff, because people go to lunch. So it's not just the person at the front. People go to lunch. Make sure that everyone's educated about your procedures. And what's interesting is sometimes you might go into a location and someone will let you through without telling you to put the contract tracing details in, and some don't. So make sure they got that consistency. I think if you go above and beyond, then this will make staff feel safer when clients visit, and make sure and so we've got a procedure within the business. Think about your delivery drivers, suppliers, contractors, and cleaners, because they come in and out of your business all the time. So again, we want to make sure there's a good set of rules that everyone follows, and create those ground rules that I talked about. Again, I want to mention, follow the government announcements of what's going on, and this same applies when we're visiting clients or doing any type of travel as well. So again, it's just about that clear communication and having a process in place that is there, and maybe documenting it. And my HR team can certainly help people. We've got plenty of downloads on our website if people want some help to make that happen. I also want to talk about the importance of what's going on right now, because there's been a lot of change about recruiting and inducting staff, new staff. And again, we've just recruited another staff member in our business, and all the recruitment's been done by Zoom. And so therefore I've met that person, and Rebecca in our business, who started with us last year, she worked for us for a couple of months before I got to meet her face to face. So we've just got to make sure we've got that all happening. So better ways to recruit in 2021. So I think, Mark talked about before, the importance of resetting your goals, your vision. If you've pivoted your business, one of the things that we see is people not updating their PDs around some of the core competencies and behaviours that we need for that next person. So if your business models change, you need to start changing some of that expectation of what you're looking for. I'm really big on setting up that job ad that is attractive for new talent that you're searching, and add a bit of bait for a response. And one of the things I always coach in my How to Manage and Motivate program is, ask someone to apply for a job and give them 5 reasons why they'd like to be part of your business. Post that job ad on Seek and share it all on your socials. And again, we've all now gone into that world of marketing our business better. Put it out on your socials. We're looking for this talent, because what can happen sometimes is someone might refer someone to that ad, and that's great for your business. You want to create a short list. So again, minimize your time. Create a short list based on the applicants. and then conduct a, like we recommend you conduct like a phone screen. So do I like the sound of this person? I want to get them to elaborate on the 5 reasons why they've applied, and then conduct your first interview via a Zoom or a Teams meeting. I think this is the new norm of recruiting, by the way, if I can put it out there. And then, you know, when you do that second interview, try and get it face-to-face if possible, based on the rules. What is really important is when we find that successful candidate, we offer the job role to that successful candidate. And one of the things I talk about is we're offering you this role because I liked the way that your 5 reasons why you want to come and join our company. I really enjoyed our conversation, the phone screens. These were some of the things I got out of our first interview. And the second interview, I really liked the interaction that we had, and I think you'd be a real great culture fit of the business. And set those expectations. Confirm the wages or the salary, whatever's offered, with the start date and expectations. And again, I can't, you know, the better you can make that. And I think one of the things that, you know, I coach a lot of is us employers, you know, we don't employ on the eyeball theory. You look good, I'm going to put you on. You really want to do a thorough recruitment process. And secondly, you know, what you want to make sure is, you know, when you're putting somebody on, they're interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing them, because they're looking for a good start and a great career. And I made a comment before in this webinar that there are some people that have chosen to, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to get out. So I'm going to leave this job and go and try something else. So there's been a bit of movement within staff within companies, especially over 2020. So anyone that's looking for a, you know, a career path or a change or something like that, they're definitely going to be wanting to interview that next employer. Are you a good fit for me as well? I think, you know, the value of good induction, set those expectations and motivation from day one. I always say your first day's got to be your best day when someone comes and works for you. Show the history of your business. And one of the things we do in our business is the KBA way. This is how we do business. This is what we're all about. The mission, the vision, the values, why we invest, that purpose. And I'm really big on, and my team are fantastic at this, is setting up that 1 to 2 week induction plan where basically everyone within the business, so you use your team to help induct this new person into the business. You want to make sure you get all your compliance done, signed contract, employment contract, PDs, policies and procedures. And again, you know, this is something that most companies out there, you know, they're very good with their, you know, their craft, but when it comes to some of the compliance things, they're not very good at doing contracts, leave things out, might misinterpret something, and policies and procedures are not as a high priority as opposed to starting the job and start making some money in the business. You need to do that due diligence at the start because it might save you a bucket load of money in the future. Spend the time and go through everything thoroughly and make sure that there's, you know, that they understand what the expectation of the business, how it all works, and make sure, as I said before, their first day is their best day, and have everything ready to go. There's nothing worse than someone starting in your business where we haven't got your logins run properly, we're still getting your computer and all of this and that. Try your best to get it so when they come in, they say to themselves, that new staff member starting your business, I've made the right decision. Manage staff to achieve your goals and objectives. So my key points are around that communication, and Mark's reiterated, I've reiterated throughout this webinar. Communication is key. Set those goals and objectives with your staff. Find out what's gonna motivate them and get them going. Showcase what you want to achieve, and then break it down into those milestone moments and link it back to that 90-day plan that Mark talked about. Absolutely love it. And what I really enjoy most is when I go and have that quarterly meeting with MKS Group, and then we start working out what have I achieved, where are my gaps, and what can we do to try and improve. Ensure you get clarity and buy-in from everyone, because clarity creates, well, everyone is clear what we're trying to achieve, and buy-in is like they feel like they've contributed to what the business needs to do. And then from there, you'll get better employee engagement. It's been a very stressful time, but one of the things that during COVID, all the way through the business, you know, celebrate the wins and the milestone moments as they achieve, right? And that recognition and praise is always. And I don't care if you're, you know, if you're a business owner, it doesn't matter how bad things are in your business, you can't have key staff leave. You've got to make sure that you're putting that time into them and keep them motivated. So if you've got staff issues, well, that's a different story. Then you need to address that in a one-on-one or follow up on a performance management process. And if you struggle with that through the emotion, then that's what our company's there to try and help do. I want to talk about being prepared for a great year ahead, right? And I'm going to get Mark to come in and join in with me on this, but the value of adding additional products and services to grow your business, what is your plan? Mark talked about that. and he talked about asking your customers. And I think sometimes what happens is, when customers say, oh, can you also do this organically? And then, that's a big question mark. Well, okay, maybe we can. And then maybe we take that back to the business. And I'm really big on my team bringing those ideas back to the business. And one thing we do every quarter is a business improvement day where we shut the business down and we all work on it. And I mentioned before in this webinar, we can't get all of our staff in the office. So on Monday, the 1st of Feb, we all went to the hired a room big enough that we could all fit. So doing things that creates that motivation. Think about how you can bundle a package, create bundles and packages into your current offerings. Will your business need extra resources? New staff? Can we cross-train? Mark talked about that before. Train your existing staff to minimise some of your wages, or maybe someone in your business already has a skill set and you don't know it yet. So I think that's that communication. Think about your 90-day plan, seek advice for reassurance, and what else you offer. Add more value. Will add more value to your brand. So I think we've pivoted our business, but how can I add more value to my brand and that service offering? Mark, is there anything you want to add to what I've just talked about?
Yeah, no, what I was going to add is make sure that your brand stands out there, right? So if you haven't done any marketing in the past, you need to start doing some, right? If you've always been doing it, well, continue doing it and maybe do it better. Test and measure what works, what doesn't work, but make sure you get your brand up there. People need to know who you are and what you do and why you do it. Yeah, that's one of the most important things. So I think this slide here is what does your business need to do to grow more sales? I think that this is the key. This is, if you haven't listened to anything we've said so far, please listen to this.
Yeah, that's right. And I always ask, to do more marketing, do we need to do more marketing, or do we have, or have a better marketing strategy? So a lot of people throw and splash things out there, but do they have a really good strategy behind it? I think is important. Maybe host some webinars.
Understand that strategy too. Understand and make sure people are aware, and make sure your team are aware of what that strategy really is.
Yeah, they're on board with it. I think, and what was really interesting is, last year, a lot of clients that I've worked with have never done a webinar before. So, all those series of webinars are, on our website. So I encourage some of our clients, let's do some webinars together. Let's share. And that's something, Mark, you and I have always done, but, share with our clients, to try and get them the confidence to actually do it. And I think that's the thing, like, think outside the square. What can you do a bit differently? And, do you need to train your staff on sales and customer service? Yeah. Now, I have this philosophy. Anyone who talks to a customer in your business needs to have sales and customer service training, right? So I don't care if you're collecting money, you need to, there needs to be engagement. So I think it's really, really important. Are you tracking your leads? Now, I'm Sales 101, or getting, a register of clients. How are you getting clients? So during COVID, all the webinars that we did and all that hard work, we had over 800 people come through our website and join our CRM database, to the point where we failed at actually following up people. So I then put on a person that created a job. I put on a person, Sarah, she works for us 20 hours a week, and she's a tele-appointer in our business, and it's working brilliantly. So I think, we've got to take a bit of risk, and we've got to just do things. And then think about some of your customer win backs. And I think, what really stood out to me during COVID is I'm the first to admit we offer personalised service, and we're not the cheapest. You can get cheaper out there, but so many clients come back to us because they didn't want to wait on a phone call for a good half an hour, 40 minutes to hear somebody at the other end to re-explain what my business does. So we won back some clients, and I know you did too, Mark. Some previous clients that come back to you because they wanted instant response. They needed that help, and they needed it now when everything happened. So I think it's never changed in sales, and that is the don't underestimate the power of referrals. Can your customers give you referrals? And I think one thing that we're very all poor on is Google ad reviews. Getting people to do a Google review on your business, because right now thousands of people are out there marketing and throwing stuff, and we're all getting it. But when someone's searching, the more Google ad reviews you have on your business, that's what Google's going to choose. And that's an area that I'll say that we took our foot off the accelerator, but certainly going really hard with it today. So if you love this webinar, please jump on ourselves and MKS Group and give us a good Google review. And then I think,
and the other thing, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there for a second. Don't be afraid of when people leave you a bad review as well. You know, we've had people that have gone and left us bad reviews, and we don't even know who they are. They've never dealt with our business. So there are people out there who will be out there to, they're just, what do you call them? They're the haters. Even if they've never dealt with you, they may leave you one, but make sure you get some really good 5-star reviews. Yeah, they're important. And
I'm all
praise
big on
yourself for it. Be proud of it too.
It's got to be a process you put in the business now, you know. And look, we're very good at getting testimonials and case studies, and they're all up on our website, right? We're all good at doing that, but you know, Google reviews, I think, with the amount of traffic that's now people going online now more so than ever, that's a big area that we need to improve on. And then to me, the importance of having, you know, I call it a financial plan, a marketing plan, a people plan, or a staff plan, and a sales plan, right? These are some things you need to do. And we talked about it before. You can't manage what you can't measure. You know, how do you measure your sales? How do you measure your purchases? How do you measure your expenses? Right? And again, you know, Marcus has drilled that into you in this webinar, the importance of having really good finance systems set up, such as Xere. How do you measure your market activity and your responses? You know, and you know, we use a company called BSO Digital. They're absolutely fantastic. We have a meeting with them every week. We want to know what people are searching for. We want to know how many that's come through. We want to know what that activity is about, because we want to maximize on those opportunities. Don't spend money on marketing and do nothing with it when people actually download something off your website or do something. Think about how do you coach, manage, and mentor your staff around this as well. Like, you know, I think, you know, it's really important. This is our staff plan. This is what the business needs to do to survive, and it's all about planning and creating that motivation. We're in, you know, about to go into March now, so it's all about that planning.
And as I said before too, if your team haven't been properly trained in how to sell and how to motivate themselves, you know, you cannot go wrong with this person speaking to you right now. We've done it. A lot of our clients have done it, and they've had some magnificent results. Sorry, I had to put a plug in there, Cole, because I firmly believe that, you know, it's a proven, you've got a proven success and proven history. And I know from my own experience, I mean, before I met you, I was probably scared to get up here and do these sort of webinars. You know, you've given me the confidence and the inspiration to be able to do it. And, you know, I think together we do it well.
I think we do it well. Mark, I think the other thing too, I think, you know, when we do train our staffs, then what do we do with the training, you know? So the way, you know, like I've just done a bit of training up here in New South Wales, and, you know, heading back to Melbourne tomorrow. So, you know, we've got to do what we need to do to survive. But, you know, in the training program, you know, I've always asked, what are 5 things you want to get out of this training? And then afterwards, what are 5 things you've got out of this training that you're going to implement over the next 30, 60, 90 days? And then what I want is their manager to then grab that information and make sure they do it. And that's the importance of having that one-on-one performance conversations, and then building performance appraisals and reviews of what's been trained or what we need to do, you know, especially if there's some change that needs to happen in the business.
Absolutely.
I think, how do you manage your sales opportunities from lead to proposal and then conversion? You know, to me, that's you know, we don't live in hope. We've really got to be what's the word on this? Like, I see this as just as important. You know, sales is the blood of every business. You've got to know your financials. That's what I said. You've got to know what you're doing with your marketing. You've got to know what you're doing with the people, and you've got to know what you're doing with your sales. And I always question, how strong is your sales pipeline? So of all the proposals out there, how many have you got out there? What's the conversion rate? How's it all working? And just make sure that you're doing that follow-up. And then from there, I always say, you know, show me a busy salesperson and I'll show you a happy one. And business owners, whether you like it or not, you're in sales. And anyone that's talking to a customer, you're all in sales. That cross promotion, you know, the upsell, the cross sell, it is all there. I just want to get into that topic 7, Mark, because I know I'm just watching the time, right? But the power of partnering with like-minded businesses, especially within the Moonee Valley City Council. So I just think this is one thing that COVID has definitely shown, that, you know, you can just learn how you can strengthen each other's business. You know, and I think, you know, you work with complementary businesses, and we've got a great example of this today. And I know, Mark, you work with other businesses and I work with other businesses, and it just keeps that engine room going in the business. I think, you know,
Absolutely.
the network, the network with one another, right? So, you know, don't underestimate the network. And we talked about, you know, the resilience and the change, and you know, every business owner's gone through change. We've all been, you know, as I said at the start, runs through the mill. You want to refer to one another, support one another, make sure it happens, and complement. You know, if they complement your services, then why not? And I think, you know, some shared resources too, Mark. You know, that's certainly, you know, I think you and I are more powerful talking to a company, you know, with our combined services than just an account or just a HR company or,
and even,
you know, or
even the way
sales.
we team up, often we team up together and, you know, deal with the client collectively. And another thing that we've done that, Colin, you've been involved in as well is, you know, we get clients either as last year we did them online, of course, on Zoom, but we do what we call lunch and learn, where we get a whole lot of like-minded business people together. And when we can, we'd love to have everyone in our boardroom and provide lunch and just let them talk. They take over. When we did our tradies one, we had a whole lot of tradies here, and they learned a lot from each other, and they were able to start referring to each other. They were helping each other out on different jobs. Couldn't get rid of them. Put beer on the table and they just hung around all bloody afternoon. But it was fantastic to see them collaborating. We've done that with professional services. We've done it with other businesses as well. So they're the sort of things that you need to get involved in, is collaborate. And the City of Moonee Valley really, really helped that happen last year during the COVID period. They really went out of their way to make sure that businesses started collaborating with each other.
It's amazing. It's amazing if you learn more about a local business that complements your business. It's just amazing what will come out of it. Because, you know, my last point there is, you know, you share some resources and you share the customer, and you know, sometimes a bit of crossover, that doesn't matter. You just work it out because of, you know, you just want to do what's right for the customer. And I think, you know, the benefits of best practice sharing. One of the things that I really love is, and I know you do this in your business, Mark, is the benchmarking with all the other accountants around Australia, and I benchmark with other HR consultants all over Australia. And we just talk about what is best practices, just like-minded business owners working in the same industry, sharing their success stories. What is working? What is not? You know, good example is, you know, one of our clients, why do you do so much recruitment? We don't do enough of that. So what are you doing that we're not doing? And then vice versa, why are we doing more employer and staff satisfaction surveys than what you're doing? So it's all about, you know, that sharing, and it's just valuable information. And then, you know, some businesses in the same industry do things differently. So, okay, why do you use those systems? What have you benefited from? So again, I think, you know, we're all being busy in our business, but we do need to take some time out. And I actually think this is really good for your own mental health within your business when you do some best practice sharing. You work with you know, professionals. And then I think the other thing is you learn about each other's business. So, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we all share stories of what's happened. And I think we all celebrate the wins together as well. So when we see something that's going successful, so I have a direct competitor who's forever complimenting me on their socials on some of the stuff that we do, and vice versa. So I think it's really good, and it's all about supporting each other. Anything you want to add to that, Mark? Because I know you do a lot with that group, and they come previously used to come. You do a roadshow, you know, rotate from people's offices when it all happens, but it's all online now.
Yeah, we still do that. I think actually next week we're off to Adelaide to collaborate with our network of other accountants. But we don't just do it with our own network of accountants. We get our clients involved with each other as well to make sure they network with each other. And there's nothing that I like better than passing on a lead to somebody and introducing two clients together, saying, "Hey, you guys can do this. Why don't you start working together?" And then not even hearing from them for a little while, and then all of a sudden you hear the success stories that they've talked about. Absolutely fantastic. Like, yeah, we've got a real estate agent that we're very close with, Nikki Javasi. In fact, she works out of our office here. Yesterday, I introduced her to one client, and she's able to help them buy a property, which is not even in the City of Moonee Valley, and she's also helped them with the rentals of some properties they've already got. So one phone call, sorry, it wasn't even a phone call, it was an email, and before I knew it, everything was collaborating, and that's how we like to operate, yeah? Get everyone working with each other and supporting each other. You hit the nail on the head, Cole. For mental health reasons, it is one of the most important things that you can do. Share your success stories, share your sad stories too, but let's turn learnings into positives. Yep, that's absolutely magnificent way. Yep.
Yeah,
And
very, very important.
we've proven it works. We've worked together. We've had a mutual client in, and we've done sales training with them. We've done financial training with them. We've done goal setting with them. We've gone and played games with them, and we've gone and entertained, had some fun with them as well. So it's supporting and motivating each other, exactly as you can see in front of you there. MKS and Key Business Advisors and the City of Moonee Valley have done that really, really well in the past 12 months. And if you want to learn from us, you're welcome to join us and come and learn from what we've done.
Something I want to add there, Mark, is it's the new norm now, isn't it?
It has to be,
This
mate.
is the new norm, right? It's the new norm. It's the new norm, right? It's always been there, but it's actually, the City of Moonee Valley have actually cemented this is the new norm of why they want like-minded local businesses working together. Okay,
yeah,
so we're almost at the end of our webinar, and you can see here we've got some checklists if anyone wants some information based on some of the information I went through. MKS Group, Mark, you've got something. You're creating a free appraisal of your record keeping that you've got there. You just want to elaborate a bit on that for us, please. Yep.
Yeah, look, if anyone's online, and there's quite a few people on here today, and if they want to, for us to just have a quick look over what they're doing with their record keeping and the reports that they're getting, just doing an overall health check of the business, we'll do that complimentary, and we're not going to charge for that. It'll take us a bit of time. We'll work with you. We'll sit down with you, drop us an email or contact us, phone, email, however you want. Get in touch. You can get us on our Facebook, our website. There's lots of ways to get in touch. So we are very responsive to whichever method you want to use. And we're more than happy to have a look and have a chat to you.
Yep, beautiful.
But get on to it. Don't let it drag on.
No, I think if you've got any questions, then there's we have a free 15-minute chat. People can go and book a conversation with one of my HR advisors or myself through Calendly. But if you've got any questions, please put the questions in the inbox, or you feel free to contact us afterwards. But I think you can hear in our voices how passionate we are about trying to help businesses, and I think that's the goal of both Mark and myself and our teams that work for us. We're all about helping businesses grow. So that just about concludes this webinar. Next webinar, I've got a webinar coming up on the 15th of March. So engage your staff to follow your company processes, which is a real good follow-on for this, and especially about staff coming back to business. But I just want to go over, and I'm going to share this with one of my HR professionals, Maya. The value of you can see the content there, the true cost of when mistakes happen, understand the value of setting up the right processes linked to your policy procedures. You can see my topics there, 3, 4, and 5, and Maya and myself will do that. I really want to thank Mark. We really want to thank the City of Moonee Valley. There's the link to their website. Have a look at what's going on, what activities. There are lots of great businesses in the City of Moonee Valley that are doing some great things. And it's all there. They're promoting it, and any grants and stuff like that is all on the website. So
City of Moonee Valley has got some great resources online as well. Like the eConnect is a great newsletter that comes out to businesses on a regular basis. There's plenty of information on the website, and for a local council, and we deal with a lot of different councils around Melbourne and interstate. I have not seen one as active and as eager to help businesses as the City of Moonee Valley. So thank 100%. You to the economic development team. They're really, really working hard to make sure that the businesses in our area, in the precinct, or in their catchment, are all very well looked after.
Yeah,
we should congratulate
that. Yeah, 100%. Okay, Mark, I think how are we going for time? But I know we're
almost right on time.
Well, at 5:58. So I really hope everyone enjoyed this webinar. And firstly, thank you to the City of Moonee Valley for allowing us to do this as a partnership together. Thank you, Mark, as always. I love what we do. It's not work. It's something we're very passionate about.
Thank you very much, Colin and Michael, for jumping on as well. Everyone, have a great evening and stay safe and healthy.
And that concludes the webinar. So I'm going to shut the webinar off now. So thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.